Thank you, Mr. Chandan Gokhale. Um, Thank you for sharing a very important thought that creativity is unpredictable effectiveness, and to a large extent it deals with intuition. That is what an entrepreneur does day to day out. And also thank you for sharing all your experiences about the revenue model. So our next speaker is Mr. Nikhil Shirke. So I would like to invite him and discuss some strategies about the sales. So it is pride for me to introduce Mr. Nikhil Shirke. He is a high caliber technology leader with service and engineering operations experience in industrial, medical device and diagnostic industry. Utilizes cutting edge technology solutions to improve operations efficiency, consistently exceeds goals and delivers tangible business results. He has a various specialties such as customer relationship management, service revenue improvement, service portfolioability improvement, parts and logistic management, process improvement, change management, talent acquisition and team building, and project management. Nikhil is a managing partner at Fortune Line Business Services and also worked with Siemens. So, welcome Mr. Nikhil Shirke, and please help us with your thoughts about the sales strategies.
Thank you, Shilpa. Yeah, we need to set it up. Hello, everybody. The break is coming. The break is definitely coming. Okay, so thank you for putting up. As I said, my name is Nikhil. That was a pretty long introduction, actually. Thank you very much. In terms of, in front of Jim and what Chandan did, pretty much, really kind of like short of that expectations, but it was a really long description. Okay, give me 5 minutes, we're going to set this up, and then we'll talk about the most important thing, sales management. The topic that was given to me by Rohit when he first met me, and first thing before I start, I just want to make sure that I thank everybody for giving me this chance. It's been really an honor to be in front of you guys. I've had several hats for the last 20, 25 years through my professional career, and we'll speak about it in a minute. So, how many of you guys in the room, just a show of hands, okay, just to stretch ourselves, kind of make feel good over yourselves. How many of you guys are in a sales function in the current jobs? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's functionally, but I would say for the most part, all of us are selling something on a day-to-day basis, right? How many of you guys in the room have had some kind of a sales training, formal sales training? A few, yeah. See, this is the key part. I mean, I was like you guys 10 years back. I was an engineer. I started my business. And what Jim said this morning is interesting. I thought I had a great idea, and I was just going to be the creative, high-risk entrepreneur and go into the market and start a shop. And as it happened, that I had no idea about sales. I had zero idea about sales. And what I did was, in an infinite wisdom, I paid an individual $800. $800 for half a day of sales training, because I just thought that the sales guys did so many cool things. They had the cool toys, they had the nice dresses, and everybody in sales was like really sharp. And when you look at the engineering side and the service side, which I came from, we are the grunt workers. I mean, I was the service delivery guy for the longest time. I was behind the scenes, I was under gearboxes and stuff like that. So going from being a service management guy to being a sales management guy, it was a huge journey. And today, if nothing else, I want to take up a few sales lessons. What I'm going to tell you is pretty intuitive. It's not rocket science, guys, okay? And what I would like to do is, because we are so deep into the afternoon, I want to have this as an interactive session, okay? Because sales is not something that I can tell you and you guys follow. We're just going to start an interactive session. We're going to have this dialogue as we go forward. How about that? Is that okay? All right. So the fundamental thing about sales, right? No sales, no business. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Is it working? Okay. All right, let's keep this going. So the topic that was given was customer acquisition, retention, value creation. There's a lot of verbal stuff, and I'm thinking here, oh my goodness, this is a lot of things. But when you put it into like 2 simple words, thank you for getting the lights off. It's customer acquisition, retention, value creation. It basically comes down to just a decent sales strategy. I mean, we talked a lot about idea creation, valuation, and all that stuff, but if you don't have customers, you don't have sales, you don't have a business. This is really what it comes down to. No customers, no sales, no business. And when it comes down to it, this is my brief thing today. I'm going to talk about the strategic side of sales management. We're going to go through some tactical sales management stuff, and then we go through some customer retention techniques, value creation, and then I'll kind of close out the discussion with an open session. Okay? Talking about value, and Jim mentioned this morning about a memory mistakes, keeper. My biggest fan and cheerleader, Pallavi's in the room today, and she's been the key behind all the hard work and the years that we have put up together. So that's my family. We are here based in Atlanta for the last 20 years. 96 is when we moved here right after the Olympics, and we've seen a lot of Indian community grow. So by virtue of that, I've been a part of a lot of nonprofits, MMA, Voice of SAP, ICA, Georgia Biomedical Instruments Society, as well as Georgia Indo-American Chamber of Commerce. So I have dual roles, like what Chandra was mentioning. I'm also the entrepreneur within Siemens. I've been with Siemens for the last 25 years. And I started as an engineer right out of India, starting up steel plants and paper plants. Not a really flashy job, you pretty much go out there and we are in grease pits. I started as a grease monkey, literally. But that was the way. You come from Dombivli, that's my roots. Anybody in Dombivli? Anybody has roots in Dombivli? I'm sure somebody has cousins or somebody in Dombivli, always. But going back to it, 25 years I've been with Siemens and in the industrial markets as well as the healthcare markets. Again, I have transitioned from a technology role into operations general management. I have a double master's, I got an MBA in finance, I have an MBA in strategy. Going back into it, so we found fortunate in business consulting. Consulting was the cheapest thing to do. I thought I could have a website, and I thought that that could be a great business to get into because that's an area of opportunity where the entrance, the limitations to entry are very less. You could have a website, $10 a month, and you're on your way. But going from consulting to getting into a business is a big thing. You can't just kind of start a consultant and say, I'm a business owner now. So I think that was the hard lesson that was learned after 10 years of doing this now and going back and looking at it, I could have done things differently. Today what we do is we are subject matter expertise. We do technology implementations. But when I say technology implementations, I do the soft side of technology implementations. We do change management aspect of it. So all the stuff that these guys talked about this morning about implementing solutions and systems, we go in before anybody comes in from the technology side and do the change management aspect. We do the people aspect of things, okay? So we also kind of help people acquire customers, especially new businesses, especially if you're starting a really new business, if you're a physician and you're trying to acquire a new business, that's what we help them with. We help retain customers and then we help you kind of do your operations management. This is where we are today. We went through this morning. Okay, so we went through this morning and talked about idea and value propositions. We talked a lot about strategic business management. Now we are talking about acquisition, retention, and value creation. Why is it that the sales guy always comes the last? I said, no customers, no business, they should come first, right? So, this is what happens. The sales guy is the last guy in the food chain, but it's also the critical piece. And
he's the rich guy though.
What's that?
He's the rich guy.
Thank you, I wish I could say that about myself. So think about it. My wife is nodding there, she's like, no. So if you go back to it, think about it, the sales guy is always the last thought, and it should be the first thought. What I liked about what Jim said this morning was, when he came up with the concept of selling something, he went and found a customer first. A lot of us make this big mistake, I'm going to build it, they will come. Build it and they will come doesn't normally work. It's an expensive mistake. A lot of entrepreneurs do that, and we pride ourselves. At least I was an average entrepreneur. Coming out of the gate, I thought I knew everything. I was rebellious, I thought I was creative, I thought I was a risk taker, I was dynamic, I knew everything. But within 6 months, I had to put a house on sale. Don't try that. Do not try that. Top 10 reasons businesses fail. Has anybody tried doing businesses here? Give me a show of quick hands, for anybody who's tried to do some business before. Excellent. I think we can all relate to at least one of them, or maybe a couple of them. And in my case, as I said, I think all of them apply, when it comes down to it. But the reason I highlighted a few in red was because they have to do with sales management. They have to do with going out and having the discipline of managing sales as a function. It's one thing to be creative, it's one thing to be ideological, but it also needs the basic thing. Getting up in the morning and doing the grunt work. This is where the grunt work comes in, guys, okay? Sales is as easy as hard at the same time, okay? So let's kind of walk through that. Improper planning, when I talk about that, I will talk mostly about sales planning, because you think the customers will come. I call myself the department of silver linings. My wife reminds me there's a cloud in between. No, I keep looking at the silver linings, okay? I think we should have looked at the clouds in the meantime, once in a while. Okay, so improper planning is one of them. Failure to advertise and market. If you're famous enough on LinkedIn, that doesn't mean anything. If you have 800 contacts, it doesn't mean anything. People will tell you, you're a nice guy, Nikhil, come back after 6 months. Right now, I don't have a need. Okay, it's just for the record. Lack of differentiation. I think there's been a lot of talk earlier about differentiating your services, things like that. And the last thing there, hey, what about competition? I never thought competition existed. You feel you're so good, you're gonna get out there and get this thing done. But within about 6 months, as I said, you realize there are other people who have thought about this before. So don't just leapfrog off a cliff, there is no soft landing there. It is really, really hard, guys, okay? So you have to swallow your pride, you swallow everything as you go down through that thinking curve. So let's look at strategic sales management. The word strategy, I think everybody's been throwing it around. And, I'm not the least guy to talk about a lot of business words, but strategy in my mind, it comes down to just focus. The three things. What is it that, as much as it's important to know what I'm going to do, I also want to know what I don't want to do. And that's why it's important to do the strategic thing. Because I was not strategic. I thought, well, I'm just going to get my first customer and make my money. I'll go to the next customer, I'll figure it out as I go. It doesn't happen like that. Don't figure it out, just write stuff down, make sure that you write things down that you want to get achieved in a certain time span. And at the end of the day, it's nothing radical. It's a good sales strategy to get yourself in the right place at the right time. You have to make sure that you're at the right place at the right time. If you're not there, starting a business in 2007, not a good idea. Selling insurance in 2009, not a good idea. Why? Because people are not buying cars in 2009. Okay, talk about timing. Okay, we were at the wrong time at the wrong place. We lost a lot of money. Okay, so think about it. As I said, thinking about sales strategy, it's important to write these things down. Don't just say that in your head, I got this figured out. Write this thing down. Make sure that you remind yourself why you're in business for. Because when you do the tactical stuff on a day-to-day basis, and you don't get the results you don't get, because the sales guy, what does he get the most? Does he get everybody calling and saying, come on over, I want you? No. They get no's. Everybody said, no, you talk to my hand. I don't want you. I'm good with what I have. Get used to that. And when you're going to get disappointed, what's going to happen? It's important to go back to your strategic thing. Why did I start this in the first place? Was I glutted for punishment? I think this is key, important thing to write down the strategic stuff first. Saying no. Big fan of Steve Jobs. He said that saying no is important. First time you start a business, everybody wants to do business with you. They call you, hey, I know you start a business, I have this potential prospect here, I want you to come and kind of give me a quote on this. Love it, I'm drooling already. Prospect, wow. Customers, wow. I'm thinking about the nice car I'm going to buy at the end of the year. Don't go there yet. Not all customers are good customers. Not all customers are good customers, guys, We'll talk about selecting customers in a while, all right? But think about the fact that if you have a strategy done right, ask yourself, is this really a good fit for me? Am I going to be able to deliver on the things that they want me to do? Do I have the skills and the competencies to get it done? And that's why saying no is important, because of the big mistake that we do as entrepreneurs when we go in for the first time. We want to make people happy. We want to keep customers satisfied. That's a big trap. Don't do that. The moment you start doing that, you kind of set yourself for failure. Because by the time you meet the customer expectations, you're running out of cash. You're running out of business, okay? Don't do that. Okay, so that's why it's important to say no. It's okay to say no. People respect that, Make sure. And if you don't get it, here's a good exercise. In the morning, after you brush your teeth, look in the mirror and say, no, no, no. Okay, keep saying that. I'm telling you, this will go a long way in helping yourself. Okay, because if you don't say no enough, you're not going to get to where you want to get to. Okay. Validating prospects. Like I said, not all customers are good customers. Just because I know somebody and somebody thought that I might be a good fit doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. Do they have the money? First question, guys, do they have the money? Okay? Because if they don't have the money, they're tire kickers. They're going to waste your time. They're going to waste the energies. Do not waste time with people like that. Second thing is, of course, what is the timeline? Those are two important things to ask. Do they have the time and do they have the money? If you don't have both of those things, move on. Move on, okay? They can tell them, we'll talk to you in 6 months. But when you're starting off new, it's very critical that you need to kind of have that time spent on the right people. And if you don't do that, you're going to find yourself in kind of meetings and Starbucks lunches and other stuff, whining and dining people who don't have any interest in you, because they're just there for the ride. So make sure that you keep that in mind. Other things, you need to think about from a prospecting standpoint, the risk of failure. I mean, if I lose, what's going to happen? Am I going to lose my house? You're starting an LLC, chances are 3 out of every 10 people that start a business get sued, not for any of their faults. So it's a very risky stuff. So ask yourself, what is your limitation of liability? Do you have a hedge? Do you have an out? And make sure you write things down when you're getting into deals, okay? So that's what it is. The last bullet is important. How much will it cost us to acquire this account? Because again, as I said, it could be a lot of time flying across the country trying to set up these meetings, and then it may not go anywhere, okay? So keep the cost down of acquiring accounts. There's a big cost of doing business, and that's why people don't realize it. From ideation to creation to actually going to market, you lost your shirt. 8 months into it, let's get back to the job again, okay? Tactical sales. Let's quickly talk about tactical sales, okay? And I'm going to talk about the day-to-day stuff sales guys do. And you might think the guy's out there all the time in the field and he's having a great time. Most sales guys are really, working long hours, hard times on the road, away from families, and a lot of sweat behind their collars. So make sure that this is a rough job when it comes down to it. So let's talk about prospecting. The fundamentals, the whole thing about sales has such a negative connotation, right? Show me the money. It has been through the ages. Through the 80s, people said the sales guy is the one, the fast-talking, the auto sales kind of a guy. No, I don't think so. I think the most important thing is you need to be very honest. Honest about yourself, honest about your products, because the sale will never be done. It will come back to haunt you if you haven't been truthful from the beginning. And so setting the right expectations is very key from that point, okay? When is the best time to prospect? When do you think, guys, is the best time to prospect, to go find prospects? After you start a business? Is there any good time to find new prospects and customers, do you guys think? I don't think so. What is that?
I said all the time.
All the time. That's the correct answer. All the time. Right now. It's a good time to prospect. Make sure that you're making those connections, right? The third bullet is important. Is it okay to sell to family and friends? The first time you start a business, I don't know, man, that's a friend of mine. I shouldn't sell it to him, right? Because what will you think about it? What do you guys think? Is it okay to sell to friends when you're starting a new business? Are you afraid that you're going to lose that friend if that business doesn't work out? Does that kind of bother you that you're going to sell it to your uncle or cousin that might find out that the product was not worth their while? You guys think it's unethical? I would say if you firmly believe in your product and business when you started off, you should sell to friends and family, because if you can't sell to family and friends, why would you want to go and sell to some unknown person? It shouldn't be. You should go and sell it to your family and friends. You should be talking from the top of the roof, pounding your chest saying, guys, I want to sell this stuff because I believe in this. This is good for you, right? Anybody knows what WOM stands for?
Word of mouth.
Correct. Good one. Okay, so word of mouth, right? Asking for referrals, very key. You're not going to get your first customer by advertising $100,000, $40,000. You don't have that kind of marketing budgets. Your first 10 customers are going to come from word of mouth. You're a good guy. Go get the business from it's a good gal. I know her, I trust her. That's more important, okay? So make sure that, the word of mouth is important. That's why go ask for referrals. Don't be ashamed of it, okay? The last one is, where do I find prospects? I think right now is a good place. Let's quickly go through some 4 steps. Sales 101. Okay, take down notes, guys. This is important stuff. Okay, do you think you know this? You do not know this. If you know this, I'm telling you the reason it's important is because you don't get it. And if you don't get it, you're not going to be able to make a sale. You know, simple enough. I thought I understood it. I keep going back to these 4 bullets and I keep revisiting it because it refreshes my memory. Needs analysis. They like you, they trust you. Okay? Then they have the need and they have the want. 2 important words, guys. Needs and wants are different. I think the last statement is very important. They need a reason to buy and they need an excuse to buy. How many of you guys bought something, like Chandan was saying earlier, you bought something because of emotions, right? And then you're gonna go find a justification and say, of course I need it, of course I need it. Yeah. So that's where the reason and excuse to buy is important. So the needs analysis is the phase where you ask a lot of questions. If you don't do a good job of needs analysis, you're gonna lose the sale. So the 4 steps are gonna tell you, if you do not do one of them right, chances are you're not gonna make the sale. Alright, needs awareness. The needs awareness is a key phase because you know what's important here? It's not only important to understand that the customer knows they have a need. You know they have a need, they know they have a need. The key important thing is write it down. Okay, go back to the customer and say, is this really what you're asking for? Because in written word, it's a lot different from what people tell you across the board at a coffee table. Because when you start writing stuff down, it's a whole lot of different words. That's why statement of works are important. That's why sales don't go the way they go. Because you never did a good job of the awareness stage. You need an understanding of your products, your industry, your pricing, the whole 9 yards. This is the difficult step. Because now you have to think. This is where the difficulty is, the awareness stage is where the thinking part comes in. So make sure that the light bulbs on both sides. It's not just important to say, oh, I need this. They need to know they need this. And you both need to come across and write it down that this is what you need. Alright, need solution. Why do customers buy things from you? I think he talked about it earlier and we'll cover this again. So you know they have a need. You made them aware of the need. Now you have a product. Are you going to tell them about the product? No, don't tell them about the product. It's not a good time to tell them about the product even now. Tell them what they will do for them. Make it look good for you. When you go out to this meeting, you're going to look nice. You're going to get now comments. That's what's important now, okay? So even after you found the need, after you are aware of the need, you made them aware of the need, do not go sell the product to them. They at least care about your product. They don't need your product. What they need is, how can it make me look good? What's in it for me? That's where that's important thing is, okay? 3rd step, guys, okay? Are you on the 3rd step? You're following me through, okay? Again, last step and then I'll be done. Need satisfaction. Once the product works, that's when the sale is done. The sale is not done when the purchase order is received. This is not the sale, because what could happen, a lot of stuff could happen after this purchase order is received. Within 6 months, the product may not function, your expectations will not set right, the thing comes back to you. That's not a sale. Does that kind of clarify for the sake of record, that when you go away from here today, the 4 steps. Needs awareness, I don't know that. Okay. Chandan touched a lot about this topic. How am I doing on timing?